Hello, and welcome to What to Expect at a Shibari Kink BDSM event. My name is Sernati Dan, and I'm with All Tied Up San Diego. And I want to welcome you because it's a question I get asked a lot. People are curious, what happens at a rope event? What happens at a kink event? What about a play party? What about a class? What are munches? I mean, these are all questions that I get asked regularly, and it's time that I put together a little video for you to answer some of those basic questions. Now, these are what I feel someone who is new would need to know. You may be an experienced kinkster watching this video. You might think, well, what about this? What about this? There's a lot of things that I could explain, but I'm going to just explain a few very basic things. For those that are new watching this video, this is aimed at you, okay? And the goal here is to help you feel like the community might be a little bit more accessible. I know one challenge that people have expressed to me is that they don't feel comfortable because it's so unknown. And I hope this will make it a little more known to you. Maybe you'll feel a little less intimidated in being part of what we do. Here we go. All right. So, what to expect? Well, first thing, you should expect to see amazing stuff. The kink community is full of amazing people and amazing events and opportunities for you to explore and figure out what you really want in regards to who you are as an individual. Maybe you are looking for something that is different, something that's not what we call vanilla. So vanilla is what we call things that are outside of the kink community. Things like our family, things like our jobs. Those are things that don't fit into the kink community specifically, usually. But there's amazing stuff that happens in this community, and you should be excited. You should be surprised. You're going to find things. You're going to run into people. You're going to run into opportunities that you're like, what? That's a thing? You can do that? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that things can happen. There's a lot of different people out here, and it's super fun to meet and make new friends. And that's part of what we're talking about doing here. What you should also be is just a little scared because this is a different community and it's okay to be scared. I remember when I went to my very first event, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And I walked in, and soon enough, I was sitting there talking with people, and just like they were my neighbor, just like they were a friend. And it was really interesting to recognize that these are people just like me. They were looking for an opportunity to explore something about themselves that was really hard to do in vanilla world. Okay. So being scared is completely normal. You might be aroused. There's a lot of things that happen in this community, and some things are absolutely sexy and fun, and you will definitely have opportunities to, let's say, charge the sexy side of things. And it's awesome to be able to have that opportunity to meet people who are willing to do that. And you get to see those things and experience those things firsthand if you want. If you want. That's the key word right there. And you're going to make new acquaintances. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet people who are amazing. You're going to meet people who are different than you. You're going to meet people who are just like you. You're going to meet people that have opportunities in their life to explore things and try things, and they're looking just like you are. So this isn't just a bunch of people out having sex all the time, because that's one of the things that I hear. People say, well, aren't y'all just having sex all the time? No, that's not what's happening. The Shibari Kink BDSM community is a little more tame than that, especially at public events. Although you can certainly have things that go into that realm very, very easily. And it really depends on the type of event. And I'm going to talk about that here. A little bit of intro about who I am. How can I even bring you this video? My name is Sernati Dan. That's my name on FetLife.com. And I am the owner and lead instructor at All Tied Up San Diego, along with my wife, Renee. And together we've been teaching rope bondage here in San Diego for more than 10 years. We've helped more than 5,000 unique individuals to get started on their journey into kink and BDSM. We have a podcast, Vanilla with a Side of Kink. It tells our epic journey, and really it should be renamed All Dan's Screw Ups because I'm completely transparent and vulnerable, and I make some significant goof ups. So if you're worried about making goof ups, well, you just go listen to the podcast and you'll see I make some big ones. And I still recovered and people still love me. At least I think so. At least my wife does. Also, I am the rope chairperson for the San Diego Leather Realm. We do an event every year at the San Diego Pride Festival where the Leather Realm is designed to do an educational event. And we have a rope tent there where we do rope bondage, beginning ties for whoever would like them. So if you're at San Diego Pride, come out and join us there at the tent. We'd love to get the opportunity to meet you. Also, All Tied Up San Diego. We started All Tied Up San Diego, my wife and I, in 2015. And it's a group for adults 18 and up. and we are focused on safety and education. So if you're worried about, is it the wild, wild west? Well, not at our events. Our events are very structured. We have what's called a getting started class that everyone has to go through before they can even come to our regular events, because we believe that education needs to come before play. We want to make sure that people have the understanding of the basic requirements before they jump into the, let's say, the deep end of the pool. We have both online and in-person classes available. So if you need to reach us, just reach us at alltiedupsandiego@gmail.com. Now, what to expect? It really depends on the type of event. So there are, I'd say, 4 different main kind of event in the kink, shibari, BDSM community. There are what's called a social or a munch. Those events are typically like meet and greets, where you get to go and hang out with people at restaurants, maybe a bar, somewhere where people can just talk. You're not going to be doing anything kinky there. You're not going to see people tied up. You're not going to see people getting spanked. None of that. This is a very vanilla event at a vanilla location, typically. And it's designed for you to be able to meet other people and have conversation. The next kind of event is a class. So there are lots of organizations here in San Diego, at least, that offer different classes. Some of them are in person, some of them are online. And those classes can range from beginning introductory stuff all the way into advanced materials. So if you go to a class, the class is going to be designed to help you learn aspects of kink, shibari, BDSM that are not easily understood. There's a lot of things, a lot of nuance to what we do that on the surface would appear to be something simple. I have people tell me all the time, well, I was a Boy Scout. I know how to do knots. Well, that's great. Really, what I want to teach you is how to create an amazing, deeply personal experience with rope. And that's the difference. It's more than you think, and it's not as hard as you think either. It's a lot of fun. Another type of event is a play party. Now, a lot of people come into the community and they want to jump right into play parties. They were like, oh my gosh, let me go do all the things. And the play parties are amazing and they are plentiful. You will find them if you know where to look. And play parties can be titillating, they can be exciting, they can be scary, and you're going to meet a lot of different people. And depending upon the organization, they might have a lot of things for you to learn along the way. So play parties is another. And the fourth event type is a conference. So conferences can be weekend intensives. They can be events like a regular conference where you go and you have speakers, or maybe an unconference, which is another whole kind of conference, but it's a cool kind of conference. So there's lots of different kinds of events. So depending on the type of event will depend on what you can expect. The other thing is location. So depending upon where in the country you are, where the location is it at a bar? Well, it's going to be very vanilla. It's going to be very not kinky. So you can expect people to be warm and friendly, very, engaging in that regard. And you need to be engaging. You need to come up and say hi, introduce yourself to people. If the location is a class, well, it's going to be probably more structured. There's going to be more things that people are learning and doing. If it's a play party, it's probably going to be a little more sexy, a little more fun, a little more play. You can watch at play parties. And people are like, can I watch? Is that okay? Voyeurism is a kink, but you need to learn how to do that effectively and respectfully. And there's a whole bunch of information behind that. I'm just peeling the curtain back just a little bit for you. It isn't like you just go there for a peep show. That's not what this is. This is a completely different type of thing than what you might think in porn. Okay, so get that out of your head. This is a respectful community where consent matters and is incredibly important in everything that we do. Okay. It will also depend on the host or the hostess. So every different group, every different event has someone that is producing it. I produce events for All Tied Up San Diego. I produce things for the All Good Things Center in Escondido. We do events that are designed and catered towards educational things, and sometimes we do parties. But our main goal is to bring educational events to help people learn and accomplish things and grow in their skills. Other events may or may not have the same requirements that we do. Our requirements are that people have to go through a getting started class. They have to have a baseline of information in order to attend any of our other events. Now, you're going to find other groups in the community do not have that. You need to be able to determine whether that's a criteria for you. You want people to have education before you play. You can go to some play parties and it's a free-for-all. Whoever wants to show up can. And I feel very nervous going to those. And I've been around for 10 years because I really want people to have a level of education that I believe is going to help them be successful, not kind of come and hope that they can figure it out, because this community is a little bit different than the vanilla world that's out there. Okay. So talk to the host or hostess if you're concerned. Ask them questions about what the event is like. Ask them what their protocols are. What's their etiquette like? What are their rules? Ask them those questions so that you find out what to expect before you get there. The other thing is you have to figure out what you're going to expect. Depends on the local laws. Now, different communities have different expectations. In California, there are specific functions or specific ways that groups can do certain things. So, depending upon what event you go to, you may or may not see things like nudity. You may or may not see sex. You may or may not see suspensions or things that are more risky. It really depends on the local laws that are there that may or may not allow things to happen within a certain structure. Okay. So, again, ask the host and hostess what they could see and see what happens. All right. What else to expect is what you'll see. I want you to know what you'll see at these events. You will see body positivity. I think this is one of the things for me that is so amazing. We love people to be who they are, their authentic selves, and have a great time doing it. And it's so cool to watch all of that happen. And I'm so proud of different people that I know who have come and stepped out and become part of this community in a powerful way. It's all about consent. It's about people feeling positive about their bodies, feeling happy about who they are, and being their true authentic selves. And that's kind of an awesome way to look at it. Nudity. So depending on local laws, people may or may not be nude. So you might see nudity, you might not see nudity, depending upon what things are being done and what the course content is, or class content is, or party event is. But the laws are going to have a lot to do with that and the type of event and the structure for that event. You will see people comfortable in their own skin. And I've already said this a little bit, and I think it's a little bit redundant, but I really want you to understand that the people in this community care and they feel safe. And it's up to us as hosts and producers to make sure that we present opportunities for people to feel safe, to be able to come and to take off clothing if they want, or not take off clothing if they want, or to be able to sit there and watch or participate. We want people to have a safe environment where they feel special and they can feel sexy. And that's a really important piece of that puzzle for all of us. You'll also see all shapes, sizes, ages, sexualities, colors, you name it, it's in the kink community. And I have met some amazing people who, when you sit down and you get their story, it's eye-opening. And this community has a crossover between the swinger community and also the polyamorous ethical non-monogamy community. So there's a lot of different groups that are crossing over and mixing with the Shibari Kink BDSM community. And you're going to meet a lot of different people. That's one thing I promise you. Now, the kind of people you'll meet, you're going to meet couples, you're going to meet singles, and then you're going to meet other configurations. I know one pairing here, I say pairing, but it's not a pair. It's actually like 4 people that are having an amazing relationship. And it's so cool to watch how they're doing it and why they're doing it and hearing their story. So you're going to meet all sorts of different ways that people do relationship in Shibari Kink BDSM. You'll find diversity. You'll find people who are pansexual, heterosexual, homosexual, lesbian, bi, queer, trans, hippie, goth, biker, conservative, liberal, blue hair, purple hair, and a whole lot more. A lot of different people. You're going to find people in different roles. Now, this is where it gets really confusing for people who are outside of our community, because when they think of BDSM, they think of someone being a dominant and a submissive. And you will see dominants and submissives in the kink community, but not everybody is a dominant and not everybody is a submissive. Those are actually what we call power exchange relationships. You will find people who are tops, people who do the thing. You will find people who are bottoms, people who receive the things. You'll find kinksters, switches, spankos, fetishists, dominants, submissives, master slaves, riggers, rope bunnies, exhibitionists, pets, owners, age players, daddies, baby girls, primal hunters, all kinds of different things. The list goes on. It's how people find who they are and how they interact and how they get their kink on. And it's awesome to see people being their authentic selves. So there's lots of people that you might get to see. Now, play you might get to see. All right. So The kind of play you might get to see floggers or whips or paddles, or maybe people spanking with their hands doing impact. In bondage, you might see rope or leather or maybe saran wrap. There's all sorts of things you can do with bondage that gets really interesting. For sensation play, you might find people using ice or feathers or electricity or fire. Yes, fire is a thing. Stuff you might never have imagined being possible is possible in the kink community. Now, what to expect? Self-responsibility. We expect that of you. We expect you to be responsible for yourself. We expect you to come being respectful, being kind, and we know that you might be a little uncomfortable. Sometimes you might run into something that makes you uncomfortable. I have run into situations at events where I was uncomfortable, something that was happening, and I had to step away from that thing because it made me uncomfortable. Now, it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to have something cause you to not want to be around it. But the thing you have to remember is you need to take care of you. And when you take care of you, then you're helping everybody else. It's not somebody else's responsibility to take care of you, it's your responsibility to take care of you. And the bigger thing to remember, and this is what I remember, this is what I have to remember when I see something like that, is that everything that is happening in the kink community, at least everything that should be happening in the kink community, should be negotiated ahead of time. So everyone who's participating in the thing you're seeing that might be causing you to feel uncomfortable, all the parties there have agreed to do that. And to me, that separates this world from being something that people might think is abusive into being something that's very consensual, something that's agreed to. So be aware of that, that everything that's happening has been negotiated. Now, what should you wear to an event? First of all, I recommend you be comfortable because sometimes these events are long. I know our getting started class is a 90-minute class sitting in a chair. So I want you to be comfortable. You don't have to come in some garb that makes you think you're going to fit in. No, people come in shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops. It's totally fine to come to our events like that. But be appropriate. If it's a party, you might have a little more requirement for what the dress code would be. If it's a class, you want to be appropriate. You don't want to be, you don't want to be inappropriate. If it's a social, you need to be very vanilla. You don't want to show up at a social in your, leather gear. You want to be appropriate, and some leather gear is absolutely socially appropriate, but you want to be appropriate at the event you're at. Be fashionable and functional. Now, some people love to get all dressed up. I have one person that I'm very familiar with, and she just gets all excited about having to dress up for events. She loves having events that cause her to get to dress up. But sometimes your dress up might not be very functional. So it's like only on as you come in the door and then it comes off because it's not functional for what you're going to be doing. So try to figure out to wear something that's fashionable and functional might help you. And in the end, fetish wear or black usually works just fine. I see people show up all the time in a black t-shirt and jeans and shoes, and they're totally fine. So you get to figure out what is comfortable for you. Wear something that makes you feel good. I think that's the best way to consider it and think about it, what you're doing. Okay. Check for a dress code, though. If there is a dress code for the event, it should be listed in the event profile. And again, that's a whole nother thing to figure out. I have a whole course on how to find and vet potential play partners, which talks about how to find events. So you might want to check that out. So be prepared. And I strongly recommend that if you go to a party, okay, even if you have education, okay, you've gone to some educational events, and now you're going to a party for the first time, I strongly recommend that you watch the first time because it's a lot. It can be a lot to take in if you're going and you're having these expectations. Keep your expectations low and just go watch, interact with others, make new acquaintances, find the people that you already know. This is an excellent way to do it. So the question people ask me is, should they play or not? Is play an option? How does this work? How do I find somebody to play with? Well, if you're coming solo, that may or may not be easily done, which is another reason to just sit back and relax, meet the people, find out what's going on. It's often better to spend just a minute watching people and seeing what they do before saying, oh, you know how to do rope here. Why don't you do this thing with me? Because really, you need to find out whether people really do know what they're talking about rather than assuming just because someone says they do. Never happens in vanilla world like that, does it? Yeah. So don't be in a rush. It's really easy to come into this community and have something that we call frenzy. And frenzy is where someone's coming in, I got to do all the things as fast as I can, as much as I can. In reality, that's what gets you in trouble. It causes you to jump into an area you're not prepared for. And there are people that will just take you on that ride because you're willing to do it. And I just want to say, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Safety first. There's only one you. Don't mess you up. Okay. Take it slow. Anything like this should be low or no pressure. If someone is trying to coerce you or force you to do something, get out of there. Go find the host. Tell them. It needs to be fun. It needs to be something that's enjoyable. Maybe someone says, you might say to someone who does impact that's available, say, hey, would you mind smacking me on the butt 5 times? Okay. Keep it low, keep it safe, keep it fun. Okay. Go slow again. Make it memorable. Your first party is going to be your first party. And when you're done with that first party, it's not going to be your first party anymore. It's going to be your second party or your third party. So that first party can be really important. So make it memorable. Maybe dress up, follow the dress code, do whatever you're going to, but take it slow. Okay. The biggest thing is no surprises. Don't don't have surprises. If you agree that you're going to play with somebody, make sure you talk about everything that is going to happen, where they can touch you, what to do about any kind of aftercare, any kind of check-in, any kind of pictures that may or may not be available to be taken, whether how much clothing you're going to keep on. There's so many things that you need to talk about and figure out before you jump into play. But don't let there be any surprises, okay? And it's not a show. Now, earlier I said voyeurism is a kink, and some people may be watching. This is not a performance thing. Performance kink is a thing, but not here. At this party, it's you figuring out what you like. It's you doing something enjoyable, something memorable. So again, go slow, figure it out, don't rush. Now, when it comes to touch, a lot of people are very concerned about coming to an event and they don't understand what touch means. Like, are they just going to walk up and everybody's just going to touch me and start doing things to me? No. Okay. First of all, consent matters. This is one of the most important and beautiful things about the kink community for me is that consent matters. So you should be asking somebody, can I hug you? Can I kiss you? Can I fuck you? Can I do whatever with you? You need to ask them those questions instead of, hey, can I just going up and doing it? And when consent matters, it changes the relationship. So it's much more respectful, much more understanding. No one, repeat, no one should touch you without your informed consent. And what does that mean? That means that, the guy over there on the couch who comes over and wants to give you a hug, if you say no, he doesn't hug you. If the gal over there wants to come over here and wants to kiss you or spank you or do something to you, and you say no, it's no. It's really simple. It's not complicated here. Yes and no are two words, and both have different meanings. So make sure you use your yes and your no, and don't be afraid to say no. I hear no all the time, and I hear it in a positive sense. I like it when people tell me no because it means they're taking care of themselves. It doesn't mean they're rejecting me. It means they're taking care of themselves. And I love when people can tell me no because it means that I can trust them to be able to own and take responsibility for themselves. If in some cases something inappropriate happens, you say no and somebody still does things they shouldn't do, stop whatever it is that's happening, go find the host of the event and tell them. Hopefully, it's a reputable event. That host is going to come over and investigate, have a conversation, and figure things out and straighten things out. It's also possible that, I don't know, I can't think of a good scenario in my head, but it's possible that something may or may not have been understood by either party. So it's important to have grace with people. But if someone's doing something that you clearly said not to do, that's violating your consent. That's not good. Okay. So take care of you and make sure you talk to the host or hostess about that. All right. Now, Las Vegas rules. This is really important. What happens at the event stays at the event. Okay. This is not a, hey, I was at this party and we did all these things, da 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 da. You don't share what happened at the party. You can share what happened to you at the party, but you don't share what happened to the other couple over there that you saw doing things. You don't share that. So it's really important that you recognize that and keep that under your hat. Okay. So don't out people. Don't share things about people that they didn't give you permission to share. And this can be really challenging because you get excited and you want to talk about it and you want to open up and you want to be able to say, oh, I saw this. And you can say, hey, I saw this suspension. Hey, I saw this person getting hit with a whip or spanking or whatever the thing was, but don't tell them who it was. Don't talk about the people. Don't give details. Don't out them. Okay. Las Vegas rules. What happens at the event stays at the event. Don't get into all that detail with anybody. Share what your experience was, but that's it. Okay. And it's all about having fun. So for more information, you can visit us at www.alltiedupsandiego.com. Our website has lots of information on it that's helpful for you. We do in-person and online classes. We have two different sections for that. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me at dan@alltiedupsandiego.com. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have. And hopefully we'll see you soon at a kink event. Take care.